I often think I'm glad no one is watching me as I parent on a daily basis, day in and day out, but we are launching another Parenting SOS segment with this video, and the topic we're tackling today is how adult stress, your stress as parents, can be transmitted to your children. And then, of course, how do we prevent this from happening? So we have the Professor of Human Development, Dr. Sara Waters, with us here. She's with WSU Vancouver. Doctor, thank you for being here. Hopefully I launched that topic correctly. So we are talking about our adult stress and how we can literally transmit it to our children, sometimes even through touch. I'll let you explain.
Yeah, so I think a lot of parents suspect that their kids are picking up on how they're feeling.
Absolutely.
If parents having a bad day, somehow kids are more irritable. So we were wondering, how does that happen? Can we look at, really understand that process? And so when we stress moms, when we induce a biological stress response in the mother, we can see the same changes in the baby's body. That they come up and they synchronize in this stress state with their moms.
I think we even have a graphic that you sent us that kind of shows this study and some of the results. I love a good graphic. I love a good chart. Explain to me what I'm seeing here.
So in this study, there were 3 different ways that we stressed mom. Well, a positive stress, so public speaking is what freaks everybody out. So
yes.
Public speaking with some positive feedback, public speaking with some negative, and then a no stress. So on the top, you see mom's responses, which are just what we would expect. People do not like to do public speaking in front of negative kind of evaluators. But then when we bring the baby into the room and we put the baby with mom, they haven't been exposed to anything that's happened. They've been playing in another room and they're quite happy. And within a minute or 2, we see the same kind of stress response happening in the baby as well. So they're really sort of catching mom's stress.
Sometimes, I mean, if you're stressed out and your reactions to the stress can be good on a short-term basis, but not always long-term. In fact, it can be pretty harmful long-term.
Exactly. So we think that, if it's a short-term kind of response, if it's appropriate to the situation, it's probably good for baby to be tuned into how mom's feeling. But in our world, there's a lot that we're fearful of. There's a lot of anxiety. These things can go on for a long period of time. And that kind of chronic stress is what starts to make us sick and have these negative outcomes.
I think a lot of us already believe and or already have noticed that we parent like our parents parented. Even though we said, I'm not going to do it like they did it, we end up parenting that same way. I mean, are there studies to sort of prove it's really almost inevitable?
Well, it's definitely the case that what comes out when we start to parent our first child is the stuff that we experienced when we ourselves were children. That kind of sense of, oh my God, I sound like my mother or something like that. That's a pretty common experience. It doesn't have to be the case. I mean, for many of us, we had a great childhood, so pass that on. But if there's things that you don't want to pass on, then it's about really understanding those things and creating new kinds of ways of interacting. So it's possible, but it takes work. Dr.
Sara, on Monday of next week, the 27th of March, you're going to be performing this Science on Tap presentation. Tell me about this. Science on Tap referring to beers will be served at this event. That's the on tap part. But
Science
talk about
and drinking.
the actual presentation on Monday night.
So this is going to be in collaboration with Artist Repertory Theater. They're doing a show right now called Feathers and Teeth. It's about a girl who loses her mother. So I'm going to be talking about love, trauma, bonding, how these things that happen in childhood between parents and children really have these lifelong kinds of effects for good and bad.
I was stressed out about this segment, to be honest with you, Doctor, because I thought we were going to talk about good and bad parenting, and I didn't know how I would feel after it was all said and done, but you made it easy. I still feel okay with myself as a parent. Thank you for coming on Portland Today.
Thank you for having me.
Stay tuned for our next Parenting SOS and more Portland Today.